past experience. But
Walt Disney himself understood the importance of spending time around animals, studying their behavior and personalities in order to create realistic characters and dynamic storylines. This meeting of the human and animal worlds sparked a legacy of storytelling.
How's everybody doing? Everybody have their coffee this morning?
Yeah.
Good, because I did too. You're not allowed to have coffee? Well, then you're going to be a little bit slow. It's okay. We'll talk real slow, Annabelle. Yeah, I know your name. Charlie, Addie, thank you, parents. Do it now. Now. Okay. Folks, we are going to be drawing Simba!
Yeah.
The future king of the Pride Lands. You all know the words, right? But we're going to have to do a couple things. First, everybody has pencil and paper, yes?
Yes.
Fantastic. Everybody has a board that they found on their chair.
Yes.
That's very important because we need that board to stay at that chair. Why? So the next artist can have the same experience of finding a board at their chair. Real easy, right? One other thing. No matter how many trees we planted, they keep telling us we're inside. So therefore, these fabulous fragments of fabric have to remain fastened firmly to our face. I know it's frustrating, but not forever. All right? One other thing, though. We are drawing a lion. And Walt used to bring live animals into the studio so that his animators could get, the feel of the animal, right? Would you like me to bring a lion in?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? I'm not on video, what? I mean, I can have him sit next to you. Are you okay? No, he said no. Well, there's a reason why we're not going to bring a lion in here. And that is because there are people in here who have cat allergies. That's the only reason. So instead, I'm going to keep you a hypoallergenic distance away from them. Take a look at these 80-inch monitors for your inspiration.
Meet Dakari, an African lion. He may not look too busy if you come to visit him during the heat of the day. Being a carnivore, he is doing just what he needs to do. His strategy? It may be similar to some teenagers you know, laying down and resting to conserve energy. Lions can sleep up to 20 hours a day. Dakari has this down to an art form. With his schedule, Lion turns out to be a perfect name. Dakari likes to lie on grass, lie on rocks, lie in a shady spot. Dakari seems to get comfortable anywhere. In the wild, food is hard to come by. Not that a male lion would know. The lionesses typically do the hunting and all the caregiving for the family. With all that the females do for the pride, you may be asking, what exactly does this leave for the males to do? Oh yeah, there's that. And more of that. Declaring themselves the protector with a raw herd for miles, Dakari will usually instigate all the noise. Soon after, Kamari and Kinsey will join in, bonding the pride together. His keepers say Dakari's roar is distinctive and purposeful. What is made clear to all? He is the defender of his territory and his family.
First 1994 release of The Lion King to our 2019 release of The Lion King, we have lost half the population of lions in the world. The Disney Conservation Fund, along with the Lion Recovery Fund, is trying to make a reality of bringing that back up to the right number, double that number again by 2050. So if you want to check that out, ask any merchandising people. But right now, we've got a lion to draw, and we're going to start with the eyes, and we're going to spend a little time on those eyes, because as the Eagles say, you can't hide your lion eyes. So here we go. We're going to come into this big circle. Now, these are called guidelines. These are going to help you try and kind of fit things where they're supposed to go. And normally we'd have you draw these. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we're going to come down to the third line. All right? The third and fourth line are not quite making it across the circle. Okay, that's where we're going to place our eyes, between the third and fourth line. And it's going to go right on the edge of that third line. So if you want to, you can make a nice little mark in there, just kind of show you how far down that is. And I'm going to start with a C. Nice big round C. And I'm doing this very light sketching. I'm going to keep it going until I got an O. Now I try to avoid saying draw a circle, draw an oval, because once you say that, people go, I can't do that. Well, make an O. Oh, okay, I know what that is. Right after N. Gotcha. All right, so we're going to do a very light, just barely touching. This is light, this is dark, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do that, and then we'll trace our lines around until we get that circle right. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about this. The Lion King came out in 1994. We're not accepting any new drawings for it, so you're okay. And don't worry about how it looks. Just do your best. How many people have ever drawn Simba before? A couple people. Okay, everybody else, this is going to be the best you've ever drawn him.
Yes.
All right? Think of it that way. And you folks that have drawn him before can only improve, right? We're going to do that one over here, and then we're going to do the same thing over here, except we're doing it reverse. I'll make a backwards C this time. I like to try and make shapes I know. And like I said, I'm just kind of barely scraping my pencil just on the bare point of it. If you have to sharpen your pencil too much, then you're pressing too hard. There are also tricks to keep it kind of sharp, like drawing on one side and then making kind of a chisel. But yeah, that's all advanced stuff. We don't need to do that. We got those nice Dixon 50th anniversary commemorative pencils out there. Yes, those are Walt Disney World commemorative pencils. And yes, you can all keep them. I'm sorry, none of the stuff that was on there, we had to cut them in half so they fit the box. So all that stuff was on the top. Sorry. All right, so now, if you are getting real anxious and having a lot of anxiety right now that you've drawn two circles, that's fine. You can go ahead and color those in, put a line across it, trace the circle, and you've got Baymax. We're going to keep on drawing Simba. And I'm going to go ahead and put another circle inside here. Right in the middle of it. Again, very softly. Because it's easier to fix a broken circle than it is to draw a perfect one right off. So once I have that in there, I'll go ahead and do this one over here while I'm at it. Their eyesight, Lion's eyesight, are pretty darn good. They got the same kind of depth perception we have. They see about as well as we do in the daylight. But at night, these pupils can dilate. And they can dilate really big, and there's a membrane on the back of their retina there that will capture more light. And they also even have little white patches under their eyes to reflect light in, so they can see 6 times better than we can. Kind of amazing. And of course, since they like to sleep about 20 hours a day, and they do most of their stuff at night when it's nice and cool on the savannah. Now we got those in there. We're going to go ahead, we're going to shade that in, but I want to put a little light in his eye. So I'm going to go ahead and put another little oval or a little O, a little 0 in there, and then shade around it. And we're going to leave that nice and light, because it's daytime right now. Now as I go out, I do it really dark around that little circle. And then as I go out, I kind of make it a little bit lighter. You don't have to do that. It kind of gives it a little nice little eye look, I guess. Now we have the eyes looking at us. We're going to go ahead and do the whites of his eyes with his eyelids. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this nice little curve over top from about the middle of the eye, right past this line. Just make a little line over the eye, a little bit more than the middle of that eye. Darken that up a little bit. These are his eyelashes. We're not going to put Minnie Mouse eyelashes on him. But we are going to connect them to that eye, giving him the whites around those irises. Do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go a little higher though. A lot higher actually. Bring it down. Because we are doing Jonathan Taylor Thomas's version of Simba. Everybody knows JTT, right? Some of you had pictures of JTT in your locker, right, from Tiger Beat magazine. There's always somebody in the crowd. All right, so we're going to go ahead and make that too. We're going to make a nice little white to the eye there. Kind of coming around the eye a little bit. So now we have eyes looking at us. We got to give him something that lions don't really have. Eyebrows. Now, how do you do that? Because they have fur all over their face. Well, we're going to make a patch around his eye. And so it's going to be an arch, like a St. Louis arch or half of a fast food line. How do we figure out where that's going to be? Well, first we're going to put a little tear duct in here. A little kickstand on the bottom. And this is going to be very dark. If you looked at Dakari's, this is also for sun. This actually kind of keeps the glare down a little bit. But at the end of that tear duct is where we're going to start our arch. And it's going to come up to this line. And it's going to come about midway, just right almost at the end of the circle, about midway into the eye. Same thing over here, right about midway. And we're going to make that arch. It's going to kind of come up and over. Don't worry if it's sketchy. It's supposed to be. He has fur. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go up a little higher on this one. You probably, why am I doing that? Well, because I'm going to put a smirk on him, a little bit of a smirk. Just a very subtle smirk, so I just kind of want to do that. And I don't like symmetry. It's boring. So once I have an arch, then I can put my eyebrows in. And those eyebrows are just going to kind of go a little crescent underneath it. I mean, we're going to put a little bit of fur at the top, just to kind of give it that. Now you don't have to, but I actually like to just follow the pattern of an eyebrow. You can just shade it in if you want. I just like to do that just in case you can see the marks. We do the same thing over here. Make that nice little arch and an eyebrow besides. How's everybody doing? Doing good. I told you we're going to spend some time on the eyes. It's okay. Now we're going to attach that arch with a curved line down to the white of the eye. And then I told you about a patch that he has under his eye. Well, we're going to put that patch in as well. We're going to come down right past this line. And that's going to be a nice light patch underneath his eye. Like I said, you can't hide your lion eyes. There we go. All right, so now we're going to go on to the nose. We did a lot on that. We're going to go ahead and do the nose. The nose, I'm going to show you the basic shape. Basic shape's going to come out to about the edge of the eye, right about here, and come down to that line. Same thing here, about the edge of the eye, and come down, just a very small slant. And then down to this line. It's going to come down at a curve, kind of bounce off it to the other side. I don't know what you would call it, like a magnet looks like. I don't know, something like a U, kind of a weird thing like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little personality in it. Kind of round it off, make it a little more organic. Come up. I'm going to put a little bit more of a crease in there. And put a little wrinkle. So it kind of looks like his nose is off to the side just a little bit. But that's not his nose. His nose is that nice bare spot that's on the end of it. It's called the nose leather. If you own cats, what's it called, Aaron? The booper, right? Yes. So what we're going to do, don't boop a lion. Whatever you don't boop a lion. But we're going to go ahead and bring this around. We're going to make kind of the shape of a boomerang. If you don't remember what a boomerang looks like, just wait a minute. It should come back to you. Bring that up. I'm going to tell you right now, this is where old Jungle Cruise jokes go to die. O2H. O2. No, okay. So once I got that, we got to put some nostrils in, and that's going to be, well, kind of like water droplets that are going uphill. They're defying gravity, which is wicked. No theater nerds. Okay. We'll see where you are now. You can shade those in, but don't go outside the lines. Because anything that comes outside the lines might look funny, but it's not. Now, about halfway between that little line and the circle, I'm going to put another little line. We'll put a little curved little line right on that middle line. That's called a philtrum. I can tell you a lot about a philtrum, but basically what it does is it takes moisture from the mouth and brings it up to the nose. That's why a cat, dog, hyena, lion, all those noses are wet. We have one. Can't see them now, but we do have them. They just make them difficult to shave. Really, that's all it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of put a little frown on his face. Don't worry, it won't be too long. From one nostril to the other, little bit of a frown. No, it's not that part of the movie. No fathers are going to be harmed in the making of this line.
Good.
Okay, what we're going to do though is we're going to put some dimples on him, and we can do that with a nice little wavy line coming from our little tear duct. It's going to come down to about the middle of the eye and bring it out into a dimple. On the other side, it's going to go a little bit more. I'm going to come down underneath that line and then make a nice little hill. Dimple's going to be a little higher. Got to get that smirk in there. Now let's make this lion happy. We're going to make a W out of that frown. We're going to go from one of our little lines here, come down, and we'll make a W. So we got one side there. This side's going to be a little bit more, a little shorter there. And then we got a little bit of a smirk. Then we're going to follow our dimple and we're going to make the jaw. The jaw is not going to be that hard. We got the line down here for it. We're going to do this very lightly so we can put some fur on it. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of come down from the dimple, make a nice little U shape from one end to the other. I'm testing and adjusting right now, making sure I got it. With all those light lines, I'll find the ones I like. I'll bring it down and put a little bit of fur right there in the corners. Same thing over here. Maybe this side he kind of slept on wrong. And bring it up. Now, how's everybody doing? Are you all caught up? Okay, I got a couple thumbs up and I got a couple people going, stop! Baymax, remember guys, Baymax. What do you mean? Don't point her out, I'll point you out. Don't do that. That's not nice. Hakuna Matata, it's okay. All right, we're going to start with his cheeks because obviously he's got some kind of cheeks here. So what we're going to do is start right there at the ends of the eye right there. And I'm going to come down, I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to bring it out, and when I get down past my line here, I'm going to bring it back into the jaw. Do the same thing on the other side, kind of bring it out and bring it back down into the jaw. Now I did it lightly. Why? We're going to add more fur. So we're going to kind of come down and add a little pieces of fur there. Try and not keep, I don't want them sharp. I want them nice and, I want them round. Why? Because he's a hero character. We want him to look like you could hug him as much as you could hug a lion. We want him to look like a little kitten, not a cub there. We want him to look like you could hug him and not get tetanus. So now we got jaws on him, but now we need some ears. The ears are going to just kind of come from right here, right between these first two lines on the circle. And I'm going to bring a nice little swoop up. And I'm going to go about that distance out. Kind of swing it out and bring it back. Now, if you want to know, if you want a measurement for that, you can use this line right here. About half of that line. You can go ahead and measure that out with your pencil. Bring it to the edge of the circle, and then you can have that. And you can test and adjust, kind of make the ears a little bigger. He does have some nice big ears he's going to grow into. Bring it out. Do that same thing. It doesn't matter if they're symmetrical or not. These are ears, right? Once we have that, we're going to put a fold in the ear. How? I'm glad you asked that question, because it's going to be a question mark. Come right around. There we go. Nice little question mark right there in the ear. This size, not really a question, more like Maui's hook. Everything above that ear, everywhere above the hook, you can go ahead and just kind of darken in. But when you get past that hook, we're going to put a little bit of fur in there. Just a little bit of round fur. Doesn't have to be the way I do it. You can put it however you want. You can put little pieces of fur, nice little piece of round fur there, maybe sticking up. Just 2 or 3, maybe 4. But that's not the only fur he has in his ears. He also has a nice little stripe that kind of goes right along, parallel with the outside. Just right in there. It's going to be a little stripe. But it's going to have fur too. Kind of come down along that too. Just make another C. I didn't lose you, did I?
A little bit.
So now we have a teacup hand. We have a nice little candle for a mug right there. We have a little Simba sippy cup. Because he has no top on his head yet. But this is actually going to be part of his camouflage. If you're catching up, you don't have to do this. But this is going to be shaded a little darker than everything else because as he grows older, this is going to travel to the back of his ear. So if you saw Dakari or Kamari or Kinsey, who doesn't have a nice little safari rhyming name, they all went to the back of the ear. Now we need a couple little ear furnishings in here, so that's just going to be a couple of lines that you only see on Simba when it's an extreme close-up. So we have an extreme close-up. We're going to go ahead and put little ear lashes in here. It's called ear furnishings. It keeps their ears clean. All right, we're almost there, and we are at the main event. Well, what he calls his main. Thus far, a rather uninspiring thing. But it's Jonathan Taylor Thomas. We got to have a little bit of a mop head on him, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of come up, and when we get past this line, we're going to start coming up and just start making some back and forth motions, coming around kind of in a circle-ish. And then whatever I like, if I like it, I put a ring on it. Never go against Queen Bee. Have that nice little Jonathan Taylor Thomas little mop on his head. Of course, everybody knows Jonathan Taylor Thomas, best known for that episode of Smallville he did. And then we can just go back on the side. Of course, he was the middle child on Home Improvement, who was actually older than his older brother. By like a couple of months, really. So. Now, he is a cat. And cats need this. And actually, he needs this to know how big he actually is. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to put some whiskers right on his muzzle. 1, 2, 3, and yes, this is character design. This is how he actually is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 3 on one side, 4 on the other side. If he's looking in the mirror, it'd be the other way around. And that, folks, is a quick sketch of Simba. You're all on Pride Rock. Hold him up. Hold him up. Sedania. Look at all the cubs. Fantastic job, folks. Like I said, if you've never drawn Simba before,
You
this
like
is the
it?
best you've ever done.
Do you?
Yeah.
Good job, Lincoln.
I'm so proud of myself. I can't draw.